was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Go ye therefore into all the world and preach the gospel. Jesus spoke, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. Taking the light to the nations. Light of the Southwest.
Well, welcome to this Light of the Southwest program. I'm Al Cooper, and this is my wife, Tommy, and I think we got a great program today,
Well,
Tommy.
we have a new guest that you've not met before, that we've very recently met, and think that you are going to be very blessed. And first with us, we have Cindy Tran, the Father's Love Ministries, and tag along Gary Moore. What can I say, Gary? Welcome, both of you. God
Thank you
bless
so
you.
much. Thank you for having us here.
Yes, thank you.
Well, they just came from having a meeting in Alpine, and it was a glorious meeting from the reports we've been getting. And so we're hoping to transfer that a little bit to you no matter where you're at today.
Well, the Holy Spirit wants to be
Mighty.
with you and mighty on your behalf.
That's right.
More than you want him to be. So,
That's wonderful.
Cindy, thank you for coming. You had to make some special arrangements to be here today.
Well, I think God made us some special arrangement because I have no clue. I have no clue. Should I share how I come here?
How did you come to be here? That's what I want to know.
Here? This is amazing.
Well, not here.
Oh, to
just in
United
your ministry.
States? To the ministry.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
yeah,
what God called you to do is more important than what we do here.
Well, I'll share with you how he came to me first. Well, may I share that? It's an amazing event. When I first came to know him, well, I was born and raised, I can share from the beginning, I was born and raised in the Catholic Church, which is, I was just brought up by my parents just to be very devout in going to church and pray. Mm-hmm. So I've never left the church. I've always go to church. Everywhere I go, even I step away from the family, but I always seek a church to go to. So I never knew him, though. I brought up to know the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and I knew all about them. But I just never knew, that there was there's a place.
It wasn't a personal thing.
No. So, but I did. I was taught to pray and to be devout at what I was doing. But in 2002, Al and Tommy, I'll tell you something happened. Something happened to me that it changed my life completely. I mean, completely. Prior to that, about 3 years, I had 2 children. So when when I was pregnant with them, so I started praying. Now your sense of responsibility was a little bit greater. Mm-hmm. And you have little things to take care of. So I started praying, I want you to show me a way. At the time, I prayed to a God. I say, God, I want you to show me how to raise these kids with faith. I don't know how to do it. And so I just prayed for 3 years. I have a little Catholic book that they pray. It's mostly Psalms and word in the Bible. You just got to recite it thoroughly. So I prayed for about 3 years until my daughter was 2. So I just prayed, Lord, I need you, God, I need you to teach me how to raise my children and my husband at that time, how to be in faith. So up until about there 2. So one of this day in 2002, it's July 2002. So I was still reciting my little prayer book, okay? And then about that night, but the neatest thing is this, prior to that prayer that night, I never heard anyone spoke to me about salvations or Jesus Christ, about salvations. Okay, about redemption, about anything. I just knew the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit through the Catholic teaching. And then I went, I never heard it through a television program about salvations, about the new life, nothing. No, 20-something years I've been in the United States, 82, until 20 years I've been in the United States. God has not let my ear to hear the word message about salvations. Oh. So I didn't know. I guess there was a reason. And so, so that year, 2002, okay, when I was praying all this stuff, and then he led me up to that point to where I was reciting this book, and then at the end of the book, I say, Lord, God, I want you to teach me every night for 3 years almost. I prayed that same prayer, God, I want you to teach me and my children in the faith. Wow. And so that night, he changed my prayer. I've never prayed this before in my entire life, I tell you the truth. It's just like all of a sudden, I looked up and I go finish all my prayers. I go, God, I want you to come into my heart. I want you to come into my life. I want you to guide me and lead me in the way that I should walk. Okay? Wow. And so, in that sense, I didn't ever heard myself pray that before. This was not out of the reciting book. It was not about any teaching the Catholic. Okay, no offense to the Catholic. I love them to death. I still go to the church, the Spirit-filled church. I'm Catholic church there. But I love it. I love it so much because of the fact that the Holy Spirit himself led me into salvation, taught me how to pray. And so when I prayed that prayer, it was about 12:30 that night. I don't remember what day it is in July, Allentown, Tommy. And I just knew that I was sitting on a long couch at my house that day with 2 kids in bed with my husband. And so that day when I finished praying that prayer, I got up to stand up. I just stand up as I were to go to sleep. And as powerful as a mighty wind that could shot you with 150,000 miles at you, okay, and that the Holy Spirit himself, God himself just goes shoom, came into me, and I just flushed back and fall back into my couch that moment. And everything, every strength that out of me took, it was gone. And I looked back, I remember knowing everything, seeing everything, but yet I couldn't move myself. I couldn't move myself. So that night, immediately, my spirit knew something happened. And for a few moments, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes after I came to, I got up and I just knew that something happened to me. Something happened to me. So I walked, but I didn't walking. I was walking, but I wasn't walking. So I was floating through my room. I was floating, I was like, something is my house, something happened. I just knew that moment, something happened to my life. So from that moment on, within a year, God started revealing to me dreams and visions. He took me to heavens and he took me here and there, places, showed me who I was going to see. And all this stuff started happening to me and things just started to come to pass. And he led me to read the Bible. I've never touched a Bible in my entire life to read it. I didn't even own one. I own a Vietnamese one, but then I don't know how to read Vietnamese, so that's like nothing. I've never read one. So within that year, I have a desire to read the Bible. So when I open the Vietnamese Bible and I go, God, if you want me to read the Bible, you have to teach me how to read Vietnamese. So I tried to read Vietnamese. I couldn't read it. So I closed it that day. 3 days later, I went through the town and went to this other side of the town part I've never been before. Now, I believe 12 years I've been there. I've never been there. Okay. And then all of a sudden, he led me into a Goodwill. My habit is to go to Goodwill, always search for stuff. It's so amazing. So I went there looking 3 times. I got Goodwill. I said, oh, there's nothing here. So by the 3rd time, I said, I'm just going to go one more time. So he led me straight back to the corner, which I didn't see. There's this bookshelf about this big, little old books, little title, fiction, non-fictions. And then all of a sudden, the word religion is right here, all crumbled up, was not even seen. My eyes was led straight through that book, and the Bibles, 8 of them, 7 of them, $1 a piece. I took all of them, I slapped down. How much are these? They say $1 a piece. Here's $10. I took all of them home. Within a month and a half later, no more than 2 months, not even reaching 2 months, he let me eat the whole book. I ate that book piece by piece, word by word, not skipping in one word. Even names I don't even know how to read, I read it anyway. Didn't skip one word. And so ever since, from that moment on, the word never left my mouth. The Lord took me from that moment on, teach me how to prophesy, pray, and rebuke and cleanse. And everything that I have today, all the ministry work coming for 7 years now, he had allowed me to learn from the Spirit. And the Spirit himself get all the glory. Because no man has touched me and no one witnessed to me. But he himself led me into salvation so that I may have a message for everybody. That if you are seeking God, he's always out there, waiting. Right. He's waiting to receive. And for this moment here, I stand here with no knowledge, with no understanding, with no degree.
I hate to interrupt
Holy
you,
Spirit
Yes.
degree.
but the Holy Spirit's telling me you got a message for the world you need
Yes.
to give to them right now.
I do.
Am I right?
Yes. Where should I look, sir?
This camera right here.